vision.
I absolutely love this start from Reaper. I think it's so smart when junglers start that Oracle's Lens and you get this vision and you more importantly deny vision. That is 2 wards. If you look, you see XP on both the mid laner of Victor and the jungler of Xin Zhao. So with this Victor, he actually does get to hit his level 2 power spike slightly earlier because you get experience from that ward. So that can actually influence the mid lane more than one would think.
Does mean that you can hit that level 2 1 minion earlier. They're going to walk back through with a second sweeper. Looks like they're going to go for this early cheese. Expect this to get explosive with that Caitlyn Lux combo.
Yep.
They don't hit anything. They didn't hit anything in the actual bush itself, but they dash in, ignite onto Voltade. One more auto might do enough if they flash forward. Blast Plant does it. And chugging that potion means first blood will be denied, but Voltade has absolutely no control of his jungle.
Yep, absolutely beautiful smite by Reaper coming through, getting that red buff. This is going to put the Jarvan tremendously behind. Gone are the days of the single buff level 2 Jarvan gank. He has to now march over to his blue buff, which the set smartly put a ward on it. So they're going to have perfect vision of that. They're going to be able to track the number for the most of the early game.
And that's super important for what we talked about in the draft, where it's Jarvan's early aggression that could really bring them into that late game where Jinx can be their win condition. But now with that early game denied, delayed even for Voltade's jungle, be a different story in this early game. As DePaul, they're also getting pretty good poke on the bottom lane. We expect that to continue as they want to get those plates.
Yep, absolutely. I do expect this bottom lane to be able to poke them out in the early to mid stages of the laning phase, following no levels from the Soraka to be able to heal up Jinx. So I am expecting a level 2 all-in from this Lux here if she can get a light binding into a combo.
Pretty good poke nonetheless, even if they can't land it. Light binding does land. Will it be enough damage to kill him? No, they aren't going to dodge out of that Starfall and deny a little bit of extra healing. Mojoromo, fantastic enchanter player. He's struggling right now underneath the turret to keep his health alive. As Root comes through. Zap is decent poke as well. Both these bottom lanes trading equally with each other. As Agistair has the move on Levi. Flash available from Levi. Holds onto it, instead knocks them back. Says double buffs, double snuffs. I'm going to be fine right here. Nice dodge in the bottom lane as well. As Zap comes through. Man, action everywhere on Summoner's Rift so far, Doss.
And I love that patience from Levi. Holding onto the flash, he knows how important that is. So the patience to just use Scatter the Weak and not flash out really saves his laning phase.
Yep. It's looking quite volatile here. You can see Jarvan, even though set behind, he's pathing towards bottom. Hasn't been spotted on a ward for a while. As King Amazing and IQ, they're quite low. They clear the wave, likely going to recall here. And if they hadn't done this so quickly, they'd be in huge trouble with Jarvan approaching bottom.
Yep, absolutely. They with the early vision on the top side camp for Jarvan, they knew that he was not top side and there was only one place he could be. They used that to take their reset timer, and now they're going to walk back to lane with the item advantage and being able to continue to track Jarvan up to the top side of the map to be able to continue to push in, lay the traps around the tower, and abuse his laning phase.
Nice choice by Carthago and Mojoromo to clear an additional wave, give themselves also a recall buffer and maybe deny 1 or 2 minions at that tower. It's going to work out well for them. You can see Caitlyn went for the double longswords as part of that noon quiver. Gives her a little bit more ability to poke them down. Boots picked up by both members of bot lane there for Butler.
Yeah, and I like Boots on bot lane, but I was actually expecting to see it on the Caitlyn and Lux side, because if you can dodge the Starfall from Soraka, all of her innate lane sustain actually dissipates. So I really do like the early Boots on the bottom lane, but I was just more expecting to see it on the Caitlyn Lux side.
Damage versus mobility, the eternal question of League of Legends as we're cresting the 5-minute mark. Dragon has spawned. It's an Infernal to kick things off. You can see both these teams would love to play around bottom lane, get that Jinx ahead, or Caitlyn and Lux, they have to push in to make use of their strength, and if they do that, they're always susceptible to ganks.
Yep, we're seeing a slight farm disparity growing in the mid lane for Levi. Levi's farming up great here, got himself a 10 gold lead, or 10 CS lead rather, and he's marching back to mid lane. He did go for 3 starting items with the Corrupting Potion, Tear, and the Dark Seal, so he's looking to abuse this early lane and try and outmatch the scale.
Xin Zhao starts the Drake, doesn't know that Jarvan's just over the corner. They don't know of each other's positions. You can see Jarvan's interested in that bottom lane. backs off for a second. Might have seen things now with an actual flag over the wall. Nice binding underneath the tower. Ignite comes through. One more auto. Is it first blood for King Amazing, the killingest player in Big East history? We'll see if Voltaire can steal away this Drake. Oh, he actually kills Reaper, and the dragon is his prize. So though first blood went the way of DePaul, Butler able to turn things back around. Adistair somewhat in trouble. You can see there is going to be the flash forward. Levi gets it. One more shot will do it. Oh my goodness, it was so close to 1-for-1 as Levi is chugging those potions like there's no tomorrow. Action across Summoner's Rift means we're at 2-1. Dragon lead there for Butler.
A beautiful set of plays from Butler there. We saw Jarvan had the vision on Dragon, being able to not only kill Reaper, but to take that Infernal Dragon for themselves, followed by a great play from Levi getting the solo kill in mid lane.
Bot lane's going how we would expect. Top lane, Gary, you talked about how this is a comfort pick for him on the set. We haven't talked about top lane too much, but he started Pickaxe. That's a lot of attack damage to play really aggressive in this lane. Works out really well for that quote-unquote mathematically correct set build we've seen even YouTube videos of last year. Seems to still be the way to go.
Absolutely, and you'd have to think that Set is going to turn that Pickaxe into a T-Mat to just keep that pressure top lane, constantly getting Camille shoved another tower and alleviate the pressure, maybe even draw the jungler top lane to allow bot lane to continue to scale and have a jungler-free experience down there.
Yeah, it looks like Camille's going to go a little bit aggressive onto Gary. Dodges out the true damage, and there's going to be the Hextech ultimatum into the dunk. It turns things around. Well done by Gary. He baited that out with the full minion wave. Gets himself a solo kill for his troubles, holding on to his flash as well.
Yep, great solo kill from Gary there. He really played around the cooldowns. It was a good dodge on the Haymaker with the Hextech ultimatum from Camille, but all in all, the early game of Set is just too strong in that 1v1, and he stat checks him.
And that CS lead will continue to grow there for Gary against Junior in the top lane. See Syndra's inching up, trying to maintain control around that Herald too. Early game seems to be going the way you would expect because of the dragon and that the pressure top lane, the vision control. It remains to be seen, I guess, who will come away with this early game because it's really gone back and forth.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, the Herald did just spawn, but it doesn't look like either team is sending their support to match or their AD carry. So I'm not sure if this Herald is not a priority for either team, or they want to still focus on that 2v2 lane down bottom. We'll have to see if somebody walks up there, or if it's just going to be a top jungle and mid fight for the Herald.
Yeah, the goal difference between AD carries at this juncture is enormous. You can see the CS advantage, almost 30 CS in 9 minutes, separating these guys. There's 2 plates plus first blood for King Amazing. As Caitlyn, the early game is coming through crazy. And of course, gold stacking up for Ion Q, having that Spell Thieves being able to be procced on cooldown. You can see Syndra wanting to turn some of that around. As King Amazing takes a little bit of hope.
Levi is creeping in the bush. They're looking to make a play here. If they get any sort of CC, Levi can walk in and throw that ultimate down. They do burn King Amazing's flash.
Yeah, he flashed, tries to still play aggressive. Nice light binding. Couple more autos to do it, but will he trade his life for a heal used as well? They're going to back up, try and be in a little bit more aggressive position. Reaper goes top. The flash, Haymaker forward. It's enough damage to take him out. That's going to be kill credit to Reaper. Across the map, it is DePaul making plays. Your reigning champions showing why they are so aggressive in these games. Kick off Big East right.
Superman, it is a disaster for Butler right there. They lose across the map. They send their mid laner down, who just gets killed by the AD carry in a 2v3 situation, and then they win the top fight as well. It's a disaster. They look like Xin Zhao is now looking to take this Herald and push this lead further while there's still plates on the map. Yeah, they got 4 more minutes to do that, and it looks like they will be able to secure a few more. You imagine that would have been the case anyway in the bottom lane with a full mythic item completed at the 10-minute mark for King Amazing. He is flush with cash and loves to hit those turrets. There's a little bit of a situation top 2v1 with the Herald that looks like they're going to go for first turret very quickly and then transition likely to that Drake next. They may just dive right after this Herald.
Yeah, they do. Dunk him right into the wall, and Hextech Ultimatum isn't enough. It was interesting. They made the call that Carthago's ultimate Super Mega Death Rocket was going to contribute, but it wasn't enough damage to actually take Gary down.
Yep, we saw Soraka walking up there and hopefully attempting to influence that play, but with just those tier 1 boots, they're just not fast enough to get there in time, and that play looks like a lost turret and a lost top laner for Butler.
Yeah, this is exactly what you described earlier, Das, where the Wish, level 6 for Soraka, doesn't come through. It doesn't actually become unlocked and available until some of the map has been decided. You can see a tower and a half down for that top lane, and though the heals save Voltade's life, you can see the vision control is absolutely under DePaul's control at this point. They're going to get their first Drake of the game. It's the second overall on the map, and that gives us a look at the soul. It's going to be Ocean, where that sustain actually works out really well for either team that can secure it.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think we're going to get any answers with anti-heal on the side of DePaul answering the Soraka? She does now have the ultimate unlocked as well as summoner heal. So any kind of answer on the anti-heal would be perfect.
You would love to see it. If your team isn't building any anti-heal against Soraka, you're probably doing something wrong, especially because there will be innate healing coming through by what looks to be Gore Drinker being built by Jarvan, if I'm not mistaken, and some of the healing that can come through, of course, from lifesteal builds from 80 carries. This is going to be the second tower coming through in favor of DePaul. They've ballooned now that gold lead to, wow, 4,500, almost 5,000 gold, which is insane 12 minutes in. And with the Comet, it's enough for a solo kill. Ion
and
Q
then you see the
support
power
combat.
of that Jinx coming through. And that was a solo kill from the support on the AD carry. That is the absolute, the dominance that this pick can display if given an early lead.
And then Lux, of course, greedily overstays. Oh, the Ignite comes through so close. Grievous Wounds removed by Wish, and it was so close to actually taking down Mojiromo. Would have lost his life as well.
Just as I was praising that Lux, it is the duality of Lux right there. It is the one shot in the AD carry into no mobility where somebody roams and kills you. So they can play off of that weak side of Lux, but they have to make sure if there's ever a binding or the ultimate up from Lux, you have to be wary.
True, and now they're going to try and bully Voltage out of his jungle. They do successfully steal away this camp, but now there's going to be a Cataclysm on it too. Knockback is true. That's going to be shut down onto Caitlyn going into the puck. It's a Jinx. It's great for Carthago. Reaper in trouble, wants to flash the wall, does in fact find an escape route. He'll save his own life, but they sacrifice one for a Raptor camp.
Yeah, and that was an absolutely great answer from Voltage, being able to slowly bring themselves back in this game. A fantastic Cataclysm to catch the likes of Jin Zhao and Caitlyn. They do lock in the shutdown gold on Caitlyn. Jin Zhao gets out, but with only burning his flash.
Really well played, of course, by Butler to pick that up. That's what's important for them to bring themselves back into this game, is to get those shutdown bounties and remove these strong members from the map so that they can continue to farm and perhaps even take a turret. Objective bounties are available soon. That'll mean that these outer turrets will be worth a substantial extra amount of gold to bring Butler back in if they can make the right plays. Carthago looks to be in trouble, flashes away from Reaper. No knock up there. And Caitlyn has Gale Force to turn it, but they're getting teleports for both teams to come in. It's a full 4 versus 3 as Soraka's on the way. Wish not available, but they do decide to back off. King Amazing, only 250 health left.
Great disengage from DePaul. That's not a fight they want to take as Jinx throws the ultimate here. It doesn't look like it's going to do much, maybe cancel a back or two. But we did just tick across the 14-minute mark. That means teleports are unleashed, and they had no hesitation in using those unleashed teleports. That was 4 teleports to that play right at the 14-minute mark. We did have some plates go through. It looks like DePaul got 11 plates to Butler's just 0 plates. So that is a huge gold swing in the favor of DePaul. But it does open up, as you mentioned, those objective bounties. So if Butler can hunker down and pick up an objective bounty, they can find themselves back in this.
I wouldn't write them off just yet. Their comp absolutely scales, right? We're looking at the Jinx and Syndra. They do fantastic. Camille as well, not to be forgotten. Even though she is quite a ways down in total gold, in her matchup, she can still split push fantastically and late game. There's nothing a Lux is going to do to peel for a Caitlyn when she's supposed to try and find those picks.
Exactly, and I'm hoping we get to see the set start to roam around the map more. He's dominated the lane, and I want to see him take it into these team fights and really start dunking the likes of Levi and Carthago into basically into a mid tower for them to take.
So much damage. Oh, insta bursted. 100 to 0 potential, as you talked about. You mentioned that is exactly what they picked the Lux for. Caitlyn can follow it up fantastically. They do. They pick off Voltaid. That's his first death of the game, and it was from that Fog of War light binding. Dragon spawning soon as they're going to pick up this Herald to give themselves additional pressure. Well, that will likely be enough to take down the rest of that mid lane tower and open up the map entirely by removing all outer turrets.
That's hook, line, and secret from Lux right there. All she's going to be doing is throwing those light bindings, fishing. If she misses it, who cares? If she hits one, that's a dead target, 100%.
Very close again to finding a new mark. IonQ trying to hit those light bindings from Fog of War. It's worked out a couple times already. Now they're going to set up for this Drake that just spawned. Again, it's Ocean for the Ocean map. This will be the second here for DePaul. It's not a win condition necessarily, but now with the jungler down to half HP, I can't imagine there's going to be an opportunity for Butler to contest this Drake anymore.
Yep, another fantastic binding from Ionic. It forces the smite out.
Oh!
And it looks like it was actually just a dragon still from Jinx on the ultimate. So that is going to do a good part in slowing this game down. They got the Ocean Drake as well as a bounty on top of that. So that's gold and the buff from the dragon.
A great denial. You know, the worst thing that could happen for DePaul is to stall this game out. They don't lack scaling by any means, but definitely don't have the kind of strength that you could see at 6 items from Jinx, Syndra, even Soraka. As she gets more of those heal shield items, she becomes more of a menace where healing reduction that still has yet to come through for DePaul will mean less and less as the game goes on. So again, when you're ahead like DePaul is at this point, you want to continue to push that lead, and any delay of your ability to end the game can make a huge difference.
I absolutely agree. As we see the great sieging potential from Lux and Caitlyn knock down that mid lane tower, it's fantastic to just be able to set those traps up and basically form a wall for the enemy team that you say you can't pass this wall or else you're going to get trapped into a Lux binding into dead, and we're going to take the tower anyway. So they force a submission into the point of give the tower or give the tower and die. So they choose to just give that tower and get a little bit more gold buffer on the side of the ball.
And as we take stock of the map at large, I remind our viewers that all outer turrets have been taken by DePaul. It's an interesting spot, though, Doss. I'm going to speak to you as a player. When you reach this kind of point in even solo queue, where all outer turrets have been taken, it seems like every lane is dominant, you reach a point where it's very difficult to coordinate your next play. There's not an obvious objective available, especially between dragon spawns. What do you do in a position like this if you're DePaul and you want to close out a game?
Yeah, if there's no objective on the map, your objective is vision. You want to be invading with your support and your jungler to get this deep vision down as you see Lux walking into that blue side quadrant of the map, looking to place a vision and clear vision of her own. So this allows them to set up for those tier 2 towers or for future objectives.
Nice dodge there by Junior. IonQ takes a couple tower hits just to put a little harass down. You can see Luden's Sork boots prior to 20 minutes. So much harass from this support pick with summoners available just in case Jarvan gets tired of it.
Yep, IonQ might as well be a mid laner right now with that damage.
Yep.
Absolutely going to be one-shotting everybody. They even gift the blue.
Yeah, look at that. They're going to give the buff over to IonQ for additional poke and pick potential. You mentioned how vision is super important. That's how you get those picks with the Lux. It does almost land into Fog of War. Another light binding would have made it so difficult for Voltaid to live, because they're trying to reclaim this side of their jungle. It's as those camps respawn. See, Baron spawns 6 seconds from now. Neither one of these teams are too quick at it, but with the level of sustain and just overall control of the map, you imagine DePaul could look to try and do it.
Yep, looks like Xinzao is actually dropping the Herald mid. We're looking to break this middle lane open, which makes warding into the jungles even easier. They have no mid lane tower to fall back on or to provide that safety. So this makes the job of the support to ward in these deeper quadrants of the jungle even easier.
And with that Dragon Steal that happened a few minutes ago, do you think it's enough of a delay to really give a realistic chance back into this?
I don't think this is going to be a Dragon Soul game unless Butler really starts getting more of these picks and dragging the game out. So I don't want to say it's all for naught, and it's helpful to make it so the side of DePaul isn't going to get that early soul. But I don't know how much it's going to do in dragging the game out for them, as they are just getting all the gold on the map with these towers and heralds. So you may not get the buffs of the dragon, but with gold, the buffs don't matter. You get to hit them with your wallet.
You know, yeah, the wallet is fat at this point, 6,000 gold lead. But what's curious to me, though, Doss, is despite a 6,000 gold lead at 20 minutes, it's been really quiet on Summoner's Rift for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, Butler's doing a great job of stemming the bleeding here. Typically in a game of League with a 6,000 gold lead, you have people just getting solo killed. They're tilted. These guys are staying poised and level-headed and still fighting for this game. It's not over yet at all.
Yeah, that's what you want to see with the game one here in this new split. You don't want the early mental boom to come through at all. And I love to see this out of collegiate players. They're normally really good at this practice of staying psychologically in the game despite losing a few skirmishes here or there or falling behind in a game like this. And remember, it's a best of 3, right? So even if this game doesn't go the way that Butler wants, there's an opportunity to bring it back on the day. There's going to be the dragon spawning. This is going to be the second. It would have been the third if it weren't for that great rocket, which is available. Flash forward from IonQ, answered with the flash from Mojiromo. You can see there's that kind of boredom coming through from DePaul, where they just want something to happen.
Yeah, that was an absolute heat check from IonQ. Going for flash, they really wanted that pick on the Soraka. IonQ is definitely feeling it. They've been hitting lots of great light bindings and wanted to see if they could add to the list here.
Yeah, I agree with that kind of choice. The heat check is smart, and also when you finally have that hourglass in your inventory, you're not worried about your flash being on cooldown for Jarvan to go on you when he's already so weak with the game curve as is. Looks like they're going to ping onto the Baron now that they picked up that Drake. It's the only remaining objective that's easy to take at this juncture, and with that full vision control, look at that juncture of the jungle lit up like a Christmas tree. You're going to burn it down to half. Should be pretty even with Super Mega Death Rocket on cooldown as well.
Yep, you're seeing blue pings, blue question mark pings come across the Baron as blue team is starting to get curious. It looks like they're going to be able to get the Baron before this fight even breaks out.
Yep, it'll just be a handshake as they take that Baron. Recall, spend their gold, and set up to see how they'll close out this match. Imagine they'll play through bottom lane just as that's the next turret available where vision has been secured.
Yep, it looks like DePaul is looking to play minimal risk. They're getting the Baron. They're gonna get all the outer towers and just scrape up as much gold for themselves as possible. We may be at the point for Butler to start doing some of these cheeky brush plays. You can see that they're pushing in, trying to sneak their way into bushes, but you know, the whole map is lit up like a Christmas tree. You can see everywhere that Butler goes, trying to deny these cheese plays as a form to get back into the game.
Yeah, Reaper using the sweeper. Look at how many control wards were just purchased with all that Baron cash. That's exactly what they want to do, is continue to keep that map dark for Butler.
Scrying orbs, the blue trinkets, into more red trinkets of Oracle Lens to continue to keep the map dark. I think as the winning team, you are allotted to kind of forego the blue trinkets and have the more aggressive vision denial tools rather than vision granting tools.
It'll be interesting to see if they heed that kind of counsel. Even more vision denial, but this is a little aggressive for IonQ without that flash we talked about. Poke comes through with that Luden's always going to be annoying to deal with.
Yep. Once again, IonQ knows that there is no way that that the side of Butler has a vision behind to go for a play. Right? They swept everything behind them. If Voltade knew that IonQ was alone there and had no flash, they could just flash Cataclysm that Lux, and there's no way that she survives. But with vision denial, they don't know who's around the corner, so they can't make that play.
Smart call as Voltade flashes forward, doesn't actually commit the Cataclysm just yet, as Waits for Reaper to use his repositioning tools. Wish comes through. Jarvan's the first casualty. They take the turret top while Gary says, I don't care what else is going on. Takes that down. Nice stopwatch from IonQ to dodge Super Mega Death Rocket, but she'll die to Syndra's ultimate. Give credit to the Jinx. Carthago is actually getting quite a few autos into this fight. Jinx might get reset as we're watching very closely. Zap goes wide. Gary down to 200 HP as they take another turret. Despite some casualties in a little haphazard play, it's DePaul that comes away with 2 inhibitors.
Yeah, and that was a great Haymaker shield from the set there. Gary giving himself the shield to make sure that Jinx does not get 1 kill on him and start to reset. This Jinx, even though behind, is definitely the focal point of the Butler team right now. 2-1-0 has a completed pull, ramping up with 2 items. Given the right moment, Jinx can still pop off in one of these fights. So really good Haymaker to ensure that Jinx doesn't get excited and use that passive to run through a fight.
Yeah, these next few minutes are going to spell win or lose for this DePaul squad that has earned themselves a massive 11,000 gold lead. If they can't close it out with 2 inhibitors helping them push into the base, then they're just funneling that gold back into blue team here. Butler might have a chance back in it, but I would say the nail in the coffin would be another Baron if they waited that long.
Yeah, and they may play it safe. From the looks of this game, it does look like the side of DePaul wants to make sure they're crossing all their T's, dotting all their I's, and pushing with a smart game plan in mind. But the gold lead is so much, I don't think they need to wait for another Baron. I think they can actually just go bot and knock on this door, and nobody's going to be able to answer because they're too scared.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Playing through this vision play, looking to get that final inhibitor while they got supers in the other lanes. It's really hard to split that wave clear between all 3 lanes when those 2 inhibitors are down. It looks like there's nice wave clear from Carthago using the rockets, and of course Syndra, great at clearing minions as well. We're going to back off and actually look for the 3rd Drake. I'm not sure if I would have agreed with this general choice. Super Mega Death Rocket goes wide, doesn't actually steal the Drake. Now they'll be down that important spell for if a fight breaks out to defend this inhibitor.
For sure. As you saw Camille use that grappling hook to try and catch out the Jinx, or Lux, sorry, and Lux does have to burn Flash to survive. Once again, that is the squishy side of Lux. You have to pay respects to even a 1-in-4 Camille who can still one-shot you.
Especially down that stopwatch now at this point. Used last fight to try and survive as long as she could. Wave is going to be cleared out. The next one, of course, will help them push forward because it is a cannon wave.
Yep, DePaul has done a great job of pushing in their side lanes as well, so they either have to give up this tower or answer top and mid, who are pushing in with those super minions as we get to disengage.
Yeah, Cataclysm and Hextech ultimating him right down on a King Amazing and survives as long as he can, but he's going to go down. That's 2-4-1 so far in favor of DePaul. The nice knockback creates a little bit more space, but they lost their turret in the engage, and I think DePaul would say absolutely worth trade 1 life for now likely to be the inhibitor. I say that, but the knockback is huge. Haymaker shield is important. Jinx out of mana, otherwise those rockets will continue to threaten the possibility of a reset into a multi-kill. They may be able to, yes, they do hold on to their final inhibitor, and they make it back top lane to defend this turret. Great defense, honestly, by Butler to keep themselves alive and in this game.
And Butler stands their ground. They're really trying to hold on to their base. They do lose their turret, but in return, they kill the turret with feet in Caitlyn. Caitlyn is a much stronger turret than the inhib turret, so that's a trade they're willing to make and buy themselves a little bit more time and some breathing room to get back into this game.
Yeah, and Baron then is on the table in just a few seconds' time. Looks like that's where they're pinging to go. They don't have as much vision control and denial as they did last time. Super Mega Death Rocket has already stolen an objective once this game, so there's a few ways to maybe inch back in here for Butler, but it's so dangerous to leave their base unattended. Looks like they won't even go for the contest. This will be the 2nd Baron of the game going the way of DePaul, and they better close it out from here.
It looks like Lux is playing right in the face of Jinx and saying, I dare you to go for this steal. If you do, it looks like they actually do grab Baron.
Cataclysm onto 3. That's going to be Caitlyn being the first casualty again. Jarvan trading his life says absolutely worth. Carthago in trouble with Cleanse available, but no Flash chased by Gary. See Agistairs alone. Junior says, I'll give my life to create a little bit more space. Butler still holds on to 3 of their members, but Baron still was picked up by DePaul. Now they're walking on true. There's a flank here from Ion Q. No flash available to play a little bit aggressive, but the slow is enough to create space. Carthago, nice dodge. One more auto might give it. He wants to trade at least to give himself the mental victory. It's going to be one tower and more to follow, I'm sure, as super minions and Baroned up minions make their way into Butler's base. This is going to be game one going the way of DePaul University, your reigning champions, showing why they are such a strong squad. And the Nexus in their sights. Gary wants even more blood. Voltaide trying, as he has this whole game, to just hold on for dear life. There's the Nexus. Oh wait, an inhibitor responded, and this feels like an ARAM at this point where they didn't end in time. Agister in trouble. Junior gets real close, and there you can see knockup is nice. Defending the base, maybe it's a possibility. Mojoromo trying to keep people healthy, but loses his own life. Reaper says, I've had enough with this. Game one, victory for DePaul.
And that was an absolutely beautiful game by DePaul. They did everything they needed to do. Not too much over aggression. They made sure to get their objectives that they wanted, and really just marched that game down mid. They got every single tower in the game, every inhibitor, 3 of the dragons, and a baron. There's 2 barons actually. There's not much more you could want in terms of objective to actually just win that game outright with the bigger buffs and the better stats.
Absolutely the case, and we congratulate, of course, game one of this best-of-3 victory over to our reigning champions, DePaul. Beautifully executed game. They risked dang near nothing as they played that through with thousands and thousands of gold lead. We'll see if they can do it again in game 2. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, game 2 of this best-of-3 between DePaul and Butler.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Esports fans here in the Big East Conference. Once again, I'm Superman, joined here by Doss. We just saw a very one-sided affair. DePaul, our reigning champions, obliterated Butler University to take game one in this best-of-3 series to kick off week one. I'm excited to see how this turns out as we're just about to get into draft for game two. Butler has a chance, of course, to bring this series to a third game, but DePaul really came out swinging, Doss.
Yeah, Butler is they're opting to switch sides over to red side here. I wonder if they're going to mix up their draft or if they're going to stick to their guns and keep going with that front to back scaling style. I'm really looking for Butler to kind of mix it up here because that seemed to have been more of a poor showing and an outclass on the side of DePaul. So if you go the same route, I'm worried the game two is going to look similar to game one. So we get into bans here with Jinx and Kindred on both on the side of Butler.
It is interesting to see those carries taken away. You see the Enchanters banned by DePaul again. Zeri and Jinx taken away. They don't want that on-hit 80 carry damage to come through. That's interesting because it was them, Butler, that picked the Jinx first round. They don't want to give that away to blue side this time.
Yeah, do we think Butler does opt for a 80 carry pick here? Do they answer with the Caitlyn, seeing how strong it was? They have two picks here. They could immediately play the reversal lane and go Caitlyn right back at DePaul.
I would love to see that happen. It would be the gauntlet throw from Butler to say, yeah, we think it was just that bottom lane that really took the game and ran with it. Speaking of running with it, Volibear going to be hovered for at least a few seconds. That's curious to see. Does, in fact, get locked in blind. Can be somewhat of a flex pick, but what do you make of that?
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to send this Volibear into the top lane or to the jungle. You really unlock with this champion with a coordinated 5v5 team type. When you get 6 on the Volibear, you get to start planning dives and really push a lead. But if you fall behind, that champ runs at you and does nothing.
It'd be so scary to play against if he does get stronger, though. Very good duelist on the side of the map. The new Ahri, slightly reworked, locked in for Butler. Looks like they're showing their solo lane hands immediately. We expected the picks for bottom lane, but they did the exact opposite.
Absolutely, and with that Ahri pick, they're doing the duality of movement here too. Volibear running everywhere, Ahri dashing everywhere. You don't even need to walk on that champ. With the rework, you have up to 8 dashes. And you get to fly around team fights and be nearly untouchable. If that pick gets ahead, it can be really scary for the side of DePaul, especially if they haven't played too much against the new reworked Ahri.
Yeah, just when you think that Spirit Rush is on cooldown, it's still available. Can be quite wild. Lux locked in again there for DePaul. IonQ, of course, loved playing it last game, was able to get a couple solo kills even. Like to see a repeat performance. Tristana locked in. That's a curious one with Caitlyn still on the table. What do you make of that?
Interesting pick. I really don't like the pairing of Tristana and Lux. That bot lane did seem to outclass Butler in that last game. So maybe they're wanting to push the tempo more with Tristana. Tristana can carry a game harder than Caitlyn, but doesn't really have the same priority that a Caitlyn Lux would have. So I want to see if they can dominate lane the way they did last time.
Yeah, it is interesting. Less ability to poke, much more ability to all in and reset, of course, off of that Tristana. Seems to be a higher risk, higher reward pick for Butler. They may be testing their own limits at this point as we get into the second phase of bans. They're not going to let a repeat performance come through for Gary as they take away Set. A good choice by Butler as we saw the power of that Set.
Yeah, Gary seems to be a great Set player, and not only that, but a great Darius player as well. So they want to get Gary off of his comfort picks and force him to maybe go a different route, whether it's a tank or an alternate bruiser. We'll see what Gary picks up this game, as it looks like both of his comfort picks are taken off the board.
Yeah, DePaul certainly is lacking frontline so far. So it'll be very interesting to see what they decide to pick up for jungle and top. Butler, 10 seconds to pick their penultimate choice, likely to be support or jungle, depending on where Volibear goes.
I would have to agree with you. So it does look like they lock in Lulu. Lulu is a great support right now. Definitely one of the strongest enchanters. And the reason I do like that support pick is they get to still conceal that Volibear pick. We still don't know if it's jungler or top. That really gives them that flexibility in lane to go for a counter pick on the top side.
And we'll see what they decide to go for. It's Trundle, who would probably do well in either of those roles as well. Does that mean they'll also lock in a lane ambiguous pick for jungle slash top for their final pick. We got a few more seconds to decide, and we'll see where Volibear ends up shortly thereafter. Remember, this is game 2. DePaul was able to take game 1, and with this draft, they're trying to set themselves up for success to close out this series 2-0 like they did in last year's semifinal against Butler.
And it does look like they're probably going to be sending that Trundle top, hopefully as an answer to Volibear. We actually did just hear that this Tristana was actually a Caitlyn lock-in, so that is a slight misplay on the pro draft side. So it does look like they give them the repeat lane of Caitlyn Lux, which I love to see. That makes much more sense to me. I think that DePaul is poised to carry this game through the bottom lane again. They now have 2 front lines, a couple of beef balls, and this actually, with that Graves lock-in, this doesn't reveal to us where Volibear and Graves are going. They're both flex picks in the top and jungle. I'm curious to see which one goes where.
Yeah, I do like the Graves pick. Like you said, they're still flexible. I like Graves in the jungle a little bit more than Volibear. I like Volibear top. He does well into those other tanks, can be a great duelist. And Graves, of course, when you have that healthy and quick of a clear, then you can do a lot with that on the map to secure those early objectives or just have pressure. And I think he would against Trundle or Mundo, depending on who ends up in the jungle. Most likely that Trundle. But yeah, as you mentioned from production, that it is Caitlyn, not Tristana, that was locked in for DePaul. It's going to be the salty run back, if you will, from DePaul in the bottom lane. They played fantastically. First blood, first tower, if I remember correctly. No, it was the Herald top lane that got it. But shortly thereafter, able to take all plates prior to 14 minutes. That's so much cash in their pockets, and it was definitely the Lux and the Caitlyn playing together to run things through.
Yep, I love how DePaul played that lane hand in hand, so I'm excited to see the run back on their side. Let's see if the Misfortune Lulu combination here can answer in a different way and be a little bit more meaningful and impactful on the map. I'm not sure if these guys are looking more to team fight, as Misfortune is known as the the typical wombo combo style ultimate. But what is she going to pair that with? Really, the only 2 options are the Volibear stun and the Ari charm. Outside of that, there's nothing to really hold the members of DePaul in place while the bullet time rains on them.
That's true, and there are only 3 interrupting abilities that I count on the side of DePaul, so maybe Misfortune feels safe to just stand still even with chaos ensuing, because Lulu will have her back. Mojo Romo, of course, fantastic Enchanter player, even pulled 3 bans towards himself on that Enchanter roll, was able to lock in Lulu. But we're going to take a short break for that spectator delay. When we come back, it's game 2 of this best of 3. We'll see if DePaul can close it out.
The break is live.
Welcome back, esports fans, here on the Big East Conference. It's game 2 of this best of 3. Butler here now on red side, trying to stop DePaul's onslaught as they took game 1. DePaul wants to close this out in a 2-0. Doss, I'm here with you. I'm excited for this early game. What do you expect to see now that we see who's actually the top laner versus junglers for these two teams?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see Graves is being used as the top laner here, starting off with the Cole. We're going to see most likely a fairly a lackluster amount of aggression out of that Graves as Gary picks Mundo into it. With that Cole, they're looking to just farm up on the Graves, and we actually see Misfortune mid lane doing a little bit of cheese as they walk back down to the bot lane.
This will be interesting. Speaking of cheese, you could see that IonQ and King Amazing are ready for the face check into the lane from Misfortune and Lulu. See if they get anything for their troubles or if they miss out on a minion or two. Experience for both. It's going to be just a tiny baby bit of poke. Much more landing there from the Comet on Misfortune.
Absolutely, they are. And if you look at Misfortune's rune choice, it does look like they went with the Comet. Usually that leans more towards a lethality and wombo combo style ult build rather than a pure ADC auto attacking build. So they are going to be looking more towards the all-in team fighting stage rather than the skirmish heavy and auto attack heavy fighting.
Oh, absolutely. It helps you get through this laning phase too against the poke that comes through from Amazing and IonQ. And Caitlyn Lux lane we saw take over the entirety of last game here on Summoner's Rift, but health trades seem to be relatively even so far here, as there's a Lux binding into a trap. But nope, the trap doesn't quite arm. It might not even been close enough, as King Amazing was not ready to step forward into turret range. Levi takes just a little bit of poke for his trouble, willing to flash instantly to get away. Does, even though it looked like they had Voltage in the wings. Carthago, down to half HP, has to flash the light binding. Amazing takes a full make it rain as Voltage's here over a ward. King Amazing, full summoners available. We're going to use that heal first. Dodges the trap. Voltage will just walk away. That's going to be heal for their troubles. Nice gank there from Voltage.
King Amazing and IonQ not missing a beat. They're picking up right where they left off, as Volibear does lurk in the bush to try and sway this lane because they are getting hammered in the 2v2 already. They've already blown both Summers from the Misfortune, shoved them under tower, and they are doing exactly what they want with this lane as they look to get off a cheated recall and come back to lane with a little bit more stats and continue the pressure.
Yeah, and Carthago, out of consumables, is going to struggle to stay in this lane. You imagine he might actually be able to be killed quite easily if he's not also able to get off a recall sometime soon. Level 3 comes through to give himself a little bit of a boost in HP, but clearly in kill range with this amount of health.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting start from Carthago, starting the Doran's Ring. They really just want to play around the E poke. It does help with the mana sustain and a little bit damage on the E, but assuming you're not going to be building AP Misfortune, it doesn't really translate into much else than surviving lane and using that E to harass. So curious to see what the next item goes, if they're going to go more aggressive, if they want the boots to help dodge. It does look like Lulu picks up the boots if we transition to a top lane trade here.
Yep, and it looks like Tier comes through from Misfortune, so really just seeding the laning phase to that make it rain. And if that lands, it's nice for him. If it doesn't get enough poke to come through, they really don't have much extended trading potential by any means.
Yep, I'm expecting this Trundle of Reaper to be playing around killing Levi here. Nothing is much better than a flashless target for Trundle, especially one that went Glacial Augment. If you hit him with the pillar, Levi is, limping out of there without a flash. So it looks like bot lane has a wave built up. The ideal scenario would be for King Amazing and IonQ to freeze this up and really punish the lane of Butler.
Yeah, it looks like they're doing just that. They've got Vision Denial in their Tri-Brush. It can play as though Trundle's here, even though he actually is. Good poke from IonQ to keep that pressure in place. And yeah, they are denying minions at the turret. And there you go. Here's the gank. Reaper does land that pillar with Glacial Augment. Carthago's left alone. Ignite comes down, and that's going to be first blood again to Caitlyn on Carthago. Looking very similar to game 1 so far.
DePaul does not miss a beat with this bot lane. They are still hammering down there. They want to make sure that they blow this game open early, as Lulu almost gets the sneaky airy kill there with the Q passing through the minions. That almost spelled doom for Caitlyn, but she does survive just barely and gets back to base.
Yeah, cheeky play there from Ojoromo. That's his enchanter prowess coming through. Is there maybe a gank mid? Voltade's here, level 6. Flashes from everyone as the charm lands, but that's already 1, 2, 3 tower hits. It's gonna be a 1 for nothing? Wait, there's gonna be the Q and a tower hit. Nope, it wasn't the tower. It was the Triumph or what, her soul passive that just got recently changed. That animation threw me through a loop. But Levi is able to finally pick it up. It was almost disastrous for for Butler to actually just trade 1 for nothing on their own gank 2v1.
Yeah, Superman, that was a great kill from Levi, but also an excellent answer from Agistar on the Syndra. Being able to have a 2 for 1 and go 1 for 1, that is wasting the time of the jungler. You may get a little bit more gold because there is an assist there on the Volibear side, but wasting the time and just going 1 for 1 is actually a net positive trade for the team, because now Reaper just gets to solo farm as we get to a scrap top lane again. Reaper is on the way.
Ooh, flash forward from Junior. He wants to go crazy. Gary barely stays healthy, and now that over-aggression from Junior means Reaper can show up. Gary lands the cleaver, flashes forward, and it's going to be a kill credit going to the Trundle.
It's very close. You see, Junior does pick up the Executioner's Calling to try and mitigate the healing on the Mundo's side, but Gary flexes his muscles, backs off, waits for his jungler, and re-engages perfectly with that flash to lock in the kill top lane.
Yeah, flash for flash ends up going the way of DePaul this time in the extended trade. Looks
Reaper
like
on Trundle is loving this flash for flash. Anytime somebody has a flash down, I hope somebody's writing in the chat, because Reaper is going to be in your lane with the pillar right on top of you. That is a free gank for Trundle all day long.
Especially, as you mentioned, with that glacial augment, so hard to escape that slow and reposition even with the impassable terrain. Looks like pings are going down onto the dragon. It's Infernal to kick things off. That seems familiar. Also the same from game 1. So they're going to actually start this up.
And I love this trade on the side of DePaul. They don't care about the dragon, they'd rather have the gold. They bring the duo lane top to lock in this Herald, and they're actually just going to match the Graves. This looks like a couple seasons ago when we used to lane swap.
Yeah, it really does look very similar, and looks like there won't be much time here for Misfortune and Lulu to push back the wave. In fact, they're on their back foot trying to clear what Gary has pushed forward. We'll see if the lane swap stays past the use of the Herald, because it'll be interesting if it does. Charm lands in mid. That's going to be a nice electrocute, and the gank from Volibear's there cancels his auto, but still gets the kill credit, even though he was trying to gift it to Levi. That'll be a kill for the Bear. They picked up their second on this game.
That was a beautiful charm by Levi. He really wants to make sure that this game stays even, so he takes matters into his own hand, landing that charm knowing that Volibear's around. Another flash E going into engage top lane.
Yeah, flash for flash. Charm doesn't land. IonQ stays relatively safe, loses half his health bar. Reaper's here now. You mentioned Trundle. He smells the lack of flashes, shows up to turn things around.
Yep, we are looking at kind of an even lane bot lane. I'm not so sure they have the damage to kill this Mundo. He is just face taking all this damage and shrugging it off as they're looking to make a dive pop.
Yeah, Charm again still goes barely wide, but it was like a pixel off from hitting onto King Amazing there with flash and heal available. They're trying their darndest to just hold on despite Herald being in the inventory of King Amazing. Interesting that they haven't used it so far. Likely want to save it for those last 2 plays to get maximum value out of it. But look at this wave stacked up here in the bottom lane. Instead of going for additional plates, Carthago and Mojoroma are actually just going to take the recall.
Yep, let's see if the bot lane does walk back towards bottom side, or if they continue to go top lane. I'm expecting bot lane to go back to their original lane and Mundo to go up. You do see a couple pings coming out signifying that is the case. There is a red buff up. I'm not sure if Reaper's going to want to hand that off just yet, but it might not be a bad idea to push the lead of this duo lane.
Yeah, you can see Caitlyn up a couple waves of farm, plus that first blood gold. Almost finished with that Gale Force again. Last time it was this point in the game that Gale Force was already completed, and it was wreaking havoc even further in that bottom lane. So a little behind the game curve as they had in game 1, but DePaul still seems to be in control.
Yep, it looks like DePaul does have around a 1,000 gold lead right now. we have a small trade mid lane. Looks like nothing's going to happen. They're just going to take each other's waves and back up. There's not a lot of vision for either side. There is a fantastic pink ward or control ward on the side of Butler, hovering over DePaul's red buff, so they do know when Trundle's around there to be able to track him.
Speaking of Trundle, he is down near bottom side. Same thing as Voltaid here on Volibear. Looks like they're going to go for a gank. Could be countered. Nice binding from Ion Q. Carthago gets the slow, though. Flash forward into the bullet time. That's going to be the first kill, but it still could maybe be turned around. No, Voltaid's still so healthy, and with the shields from Lulu to boot, they're going to get that one kill for their trouble. Nice play there from Voltaid to flash forward, stun him into that damage.
Yep, a fantastic trade. It looks like top lane is going the same way. They are both having around 100 CS right now, actually on the dot. So I think both of them are happy the way that this is going. The mid game from the Mundo may be a little bit stronger, as that's where tanks are the strongest. But Graves is also happy to finish up the Cole on that side, and we get to gank bottom lane with the Trundle Pillar.
Cleanse flash available for Carthago, and it looks like there wasn't really threat to kill at that point. King Amazing at 70% HP didn't want to overforce anything without proper backup. You can see Volibear is actually in the wings. He's here again. It's a 3v3. King Amazing down to 400 health, and there's going to be the ultimate forward from Voltaid. Nice flash from Carthago to make his way out of Final Spark. Ignite goes down to Voltaid just to deter additional aggression. Now they're licking their wounds underneath their turret with the Herald available. Will they actually use it again? There's going to be flash from Mojoromo a little too early, maybe getting nervous about this play, and it's going to be a dead misfortune. Certainly could have avoided that.
Superman, it's another disaster in the bottom lane on the side of Butler. They misplay the flash with Mojo, and it ends up getting the ADC Carthago of Butler killed because of an ultimate from King Amazing on the side of DePaul. They are gifted that, and with a nice bow on it.
A little bit of a miscommunication for sure. I'm not even sure flash was necessary to just position each other to save that misfortune's life, and you hope that that doesn't affect the mental of these players. You don't want to see them getting annoyed with each other or disappointed of how things play out. Sometimes mistakes happen.
Yep, absolutely. That's one of those ones where you don't have to talk too much about it. It's a mistake that happens, and you kind of brush it off and move forward and hope the enemy makes a similar mistake that you can then capitalize on. So with that being said, it looks like top laners are both going to take their base and reset. We are seeing the side of Graves, Junior playing Graves, going the shield bow. A lot of people do turn that shield bow into shield bow plus Bloodthirster combo to make it so near impossible to take out a lane as we get to a Dragon Skirmish.
Yep, Carthago trying to reposition to do extra damage. Levi gets stunned, and wow, beautiful Wild Growth save life of Voltaid. Their jungler has been absolutely decimated. Even though his life is still there, he cannot return to contest the Drake. That's going to be the first picked up there by DePaul. Works out well for them.
Syndra unleashes power there, absolutely saved by the Wild Growth from Mojo, just to get Levi out of there in time. But it does mean the dragon goes to the side of DePaul. Top lane just continues to scrap. They both have so much sustain that it almost looks like they get down to 0 health, stay back, and do it again.
Yeah, and they both have heal cut for each other as well. The Grievous Wounds are going to do as much as they can. Beautiful pillar pins Carthago against the wall, and Glenn's not able to save from that kind of interaction as Mojoromo's down 2, and that's going to be ace in the hole. Second time that claims a life in this bottom lane. They're going to be right here onto the second tower in the lane. That'll be a huge chunk of change to go back over to them and extend their gold lead into the range of 4,000 at only 15 minutes.
Oh my, and Carthago is hating that pillar direction right now. He gets pinned between a rock and a hard place, right between the ball and the pillar, and they're diving top lane to get an answer kill to hopefully get themselves back in this game. But is it enough? They just got a tier 2 and a double kill on the bot lane.
Not quite enough to answer to just take one member off the map, especially committing an ultimate that wasn't necessary. They're from Voltaid. Solo kill came through from Junior, and yeah, it looks like you're gonna have Butler clear out these waves, try and lick their wounds and heal back, reset their mental, and look for the next possible fight. Adjuster says, that's my blue buff. The Sentinel will give me additional advantage. Smited away, though, by Reaper, if I saw that correctly.
Yep, the Reaper did not want that blue buff to reset and waste the time, so he said, might as well just take it for myself. Hopefully that isn't too impactful for Syndra here to be having that lack of mana, and Levi actually is forced to use that Spirit Rush to get out of the Herald pit, and it looks like another Herald is going to go over to the side of DePaul. I'm wanting to them to use this mid lane and really blow up the vision control in that bottom quadrant of the map. With no mid lane tier 1 and no bot lane tier 2, you are not safe to farm your bottom side of the map, and that's where you can really get a gold disparity in the jungle. Making sure Bully Bear, Voltade playing that is really cut off from any farm and has no avenues back into this game.
Yeah, it can definitely be frustrating as a jungler to lose access to your own camps. It's like getting zoned from a wave, feels like, in a solo lane. You never want to be in that kind of position. As Reaper and Amazing trying to bully out Levi. Nice charm actually does land into a little bit more poke onto King Amazing. In mid lane, there's going to be the Unleashed Power. Wild Growth answers it just like it did last time. Flash forward from multiple members, and that's going to be killed there onto Magister. And quasi-globals used together by IonQ and Amazing to pick off Levi, as they also use their second Herald to pick up a outer turret. They're going to not quite escort it to the inner turret, which is curious to me with all this pressure they have. But they will just back off and play it slow like they did in game 1.
Yep, absolutely. Once again, it's a tale as old as time at this point. King Amazing and IonQ of DePaul are absolutely taking this game and putting it on their back once again. They are so strong in this. They're landing all their skill shots and one-shotting everything. They're really going to need to pick it up on the Butler duo lane to be able to match the damage. It's ballooned into a 50 CS lead. There is a 500 gold shutdown on top of that Caitlyn though, so if somebody can dive, maybe that Ahri can Spirit Rush in, and Levi can pick up that gold shutdown and maybe get themselves back into there, but you're going to have to really get creative with your plays to get that angle. Especially
since it's been forever since King Amazing has used either of those summoner spells. I believe he's never flashed this game. It's only been heal to keep him healthy once he was ganked. Yeah, and taking stock across the map, the next dragon spawning soon. It's the second for either of these teams to pick up. It looks like it's a Mountain Drake, which will be nice for either of these teams with limited front lines to just make sure that they get tankier and tankier.
Just like that, all the outer towers are down as Voltade tries to run down this Caitlyn, but 90 caliber net as well as the Gale Force makes sure that King Amazing is very safe. Even has the flash to boot.
Yep, can basically get away from a Malphite ult at this point if it happened to be in the game. Totally safe on that long range pick as well. Clearing out mid lane, shove it into tier 2, and they're going to harass out this jungle. I'm watching Levi though, Das. He's been landing so many wonderful charms this game. It may be a way back into it, especially with the huge bounty on King Amazing's head.
Yep, Levi is definitely the diamond in the rough here. Levi's having a great game, landing basically every single charm we see on screen, but it looks like Butler is just going to give this dragon. This is 2-to-1 dragons, the first of the Mountain Soul, which will give you that shield, preventing more burst from Levi if they are able to secure this whole dragon set.
That they do, at least for the time being. They're making more progress towards that goal. Let's see if there's a way back into this. I haven't seen Butler actually look to group as 5, which I believe they would want to do to capitalize on things like the charm out of Levi. They've struggled, of course, to hold on to their turrets. Let's see, there's IonQ. Nice dodge for the second time from Levi. IonQ is landing all of those from Fog of War last game, but Levi's got those fancy moves.
Yep, Levi absolutely has the Jordan strapped on. He is dodging every skill shot that IonQ is throwing his way. He's trying to take this game into his own. I would love to see him base and pick up a sweeper to be able to actually make more of those bush plays that he attempted over on that bottom, or that Baron side pixel brush, but there was a ward on it that he did not know because he still has that yellow trinket. It gives him a little bit more agency if he is able to pick up a Oracle's lens and make these map movements on his own.
I would love to see that happen. I'm still watching him as the main form or win condition available to Butler to bring this back. The gold lead is not as disastrous this game as it was in previous. Looks like these teams are going to fight over the river. IQ with a lot of poke there onto Levi. Didn't dodge it that time, but you can see Junior's got the flank here. 1v4 situation. He's slowed. Smited to be slowed even more. Gary runs at him. This tanky Graves forced to flash away and continue to heal with his mythic item. IQ over the wall, still looking for a little bit more. Spells go a little wide. A little poke onto Voltite into a trap, and the headshot. It's a lot of damage. They now have full control over the wall here from the mountain. There's yet another binding from IQ, able to find these flash forward into the 4-person bullet time. Carthago down to 200, 300 HP. They're trying to poke these guys out. Junior comes back with full HP, once again in a 1v4 flank. No casualties, DOS, as both teams handshake and walk away.
Insane team fight. I am so surprised that nobody died there. The crazy play from Carthago to flash forward into bullet time. If Carthago was a little bit further ahead, that would have shredded through at least 3 to 4 members of DePaul. But with that 0-3 down 70 CS, they just don't have the goal to make that type of play. I think Carthago needs to be set up more on this misfortune rather than trying to make the plays on their own.
Yeah, you would love to see it. To any member for either of these teams, if they get ahead, you like to see them make the most of it. It would have been great to see that play work out better for Carthago. I like to see that kind of aggression when you're on your back heels in a series like this.
For sure, I like the look. It means that they are not counting themselves out just yet. They're looking to stay aggressive and fight their way back into this game rather than just roll over and let DePaul farm up the map, get all the objectives just like fast game. So that is the part of the play I did like. Actually, probably luckily for them, nobody died in that fight. But I'm looking to see if that stays the way. There is a lot of ultimates burned, lots of flashes burned, so I think this next fight's going to be really bloody.
For sure. And we'll see if that fight takes place as the last one did near the Baron pit, or if they'll wait for that next Drake to spawn. Looks like they're just fighting over vision over this small wall here near the Baron pit. It's definitely hard for either of these teams to actually overly commit to contest aggressive vision.
It does look like DePaul is really wanting to set up this Baron. They've been playing around this Baron for quite a few minutes now. They did send Gary on Mundo to the bot side, knowing he does have that Unleashed teleport. Ari does match with Unleashed teleport for the side of Levi as well. So it is kind of a farm up and start Baron here. As DePaul does start the Baron, there is no vision from the side of Butler.
Yeah, they secured vision, having to use blue trinkets over the walls to maintain that vision, but you saw Voltade got poked out, wanted to recall, decided to stay and just chuck a couple potions, but at half HP, it's hard to make this contest. You see,
Gary TP's in.
Yeah, I do like to see that they all come through together on the top side. Beautiful knockback into the stun. It's going to be the first casualty down. Gary tries to make it out. Bullet time rips through the entirety of DePaul, but there's no members remaining. And there's Ace in the hole again. Mojoromo survives this one for the time being. Gary slowed into another Glitterlands, but it looks like all members of DePaul barely survive, and that's all you need to take down the Purple Worm.
Superman, I'll be honest, in King Amazin's eyes, he saw that Penta. That was so close to a Quadra. If he got the Quadra, they may have stacked the Baron to flex the Pentakill onto running Carthago down. So maybe it's a good thing that he did not get the Quadra onto Mojo, because if it's myself, I'm running that Penta down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, certainly the case. Abandon all strategy, secure the Penta. That's how you want to start this season off right if you're DePaul. And they're going to get this Drake as well. Additional tankiness for the front line if they weren't far enough ahead already. They're wearing purple and knocking on the door.
For sure, and it looks like King Amazin has 8 out of the 10 kills on this team. He is so strong on this Caitlyn. He's going for the more aggressive and bursty style build too with the Gale Force into Collector. He wants to get 10 kills this game minimum.
We would be surprised if that didn't end up being the case. I point out once again that King Amazing is the killingest player in the Big East tournament history. It seems he tops that chart season after season. Whether it's his entire team just funneling him that way, or more likely that he's just a fantastic AD carry player and knows how to secure those kills for himself. It's definitely worked out well for DePaul as they've secured even a championship last year here in the Big East.
Yep, he is absolutely playing like that. Looking at King Amazing, he has a 70 CS lead again, 8-0 on the Caitlyn. The opposite side, though, he does have 1,000 gold on his head, so that 700 bounty plus the base 300 for the kill. If somebody collects that 1,000 gold, that could be a turning point for the side of Butler.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if he has another 1,000 gold bounty sitting underneath that as well, which is how so far ahead he is of the gold curve here on Summoner's Rift. We mentioned that he's got 8 out of those 10 kills for his team. That means so many. Oh, a double binding into the final spark. That's going to be a dead mid laner. No flash available there for Levi. Wasn't able to Spirit Rush from Fog of War. Nice pickup once again.
Huge from IonQ, getting the double binding, burning down Levi, and sending him back to the fountain. They get to knock down the top tower, and they're looking to save this inhib tower as well, both mid and top lane, as well as bot. They have all 3 lanes pushing, and there's not much that Butler can do about it.
Yeah, beautiful use of the Baron. There's Junior trying to play even more aggressive onto Gary, trying to create a little bit of breathing room from this Baron play, but that's going to be inhib falling in mid. Junior's holding on just fine, but now with those whole new super minioned wave, inhibitor turret falls top. They look to be actually looking to take maybe a Nexus tower or 2. Junior plays a little too aggressive, maybe. Shield bow, not enough. King Amazing, 1,000 gold bounty taken down to half HP as Voltage goes in, lands right on a trap that's legendary. It's his 9th, it's his 10th. It's a double kill as he wants to close it out so strong. That's going to be tower number 1. Tower number 2, a stun, knockback. Levi dead to unleash power. They're just bullying on the Nexus platform. That will be a triple kill to end the game. King Amazing flashing to take down the Nexus. Game 2, 2-0 in this series. Congratulations to DePaul. They show why they are the reigning champions.
And King Amazing really took that game into his own. DePaul played great as a cohesive unit, but that bottom lane of King Amazing and IonQ once again smash with the Caitlyn Lux.
Absolutely, and congratulations to DePaul. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll have an interview with a member of DePaul to tell us about how they got those wins, and shortly thereafter, we'll have another series coming your way.